Well, kitties, time for another edition of Unsolved Mysteries Filming Locations. Today is June 8th, I believe. Yeah, June 8th. Monday, June 8th, 2020. I'm on location here in Roebuck, South Carolina. We're just getting ready to, we're on Highway US 221 in Roebuck, South Carolina, heading north towards Spartanburg, and we're actually stumbling on the location of, well, here we are, the Dana Satterfield case. And if you watch the case, you'll notice that first there's the trailer, right? And then the black lady, the sales lady, kind of walks along this road here in the background. Not much has changed as you can see. The brick houses are still there. The little industrial, whatever you call it, warehouse building is still kind of in there too. Man, it came up on me really quick. Okay, but now we're heading back towards the barbershop trailer, I believe, is no longer exists. Like, they tore it down a few years ago. This area, like here, it used to be kind of like right where, if you kind of see over that way. Okay, this is the liquor store, as you can see here. There used to be red text, now it's just like red dots. Look at, they repainted it. It's the same color scheme as before. Red on it and everything. They used to be an ice chest there, now it's no longer there. Roebuck, ABC kind of there. Yeah, if you watch the case, you can see not a whole lot has changed in the last few, what happened 25 years ago. So let me kind of discuss the case with y'all, if I can here. So this is Dana Satterfield. This was one of the, this aired on May 16th, 1997, okay? It took place in July of 1995. Dana Satterfield was a very attractive blonde in her late 20s, and she owned a hair salon. On this day in July 1995, an African-American lady who's sells hair care products, I think, she's a sales lady, I think that's what she sells, hair care products. I don't think the case ever, I think so, cleaning supplies or something. She sells something that's useful to Dana Satterfield, okay? And so they make a sale about 6 o'clock that day. And the sales lady comes back to the shop. I guess she's waiting. She was in the neighborhood. She's walking around the neighborhood trying to sell stuff, and she's waiting for a ride. So that's how that happened. Yeah, waiting on a ride, of course. She comes back, and Dana is closing up the shop, cleaning, mopping, broom, whatever kind of thing. Everything's fine at 8:15. Okay, now 15 minutes go by, and the black lady is waiting for her ride still, and she hears a loud thump noise in the mobile home trailer that was the hair salon. Okay, it was a loud thump. Okay, and what happened was Dana Satterfield had been murdered. And what happened was, like, the murder happened, okay, and the black lady, right, well, actually, no, the murderer had, like, run out of the trailer right after he murdered Dana Satterfield. Okay, and then he goes over to the liquor store. The black lady is waiting at the liquor store for a ride, which the liquor store is right next to where the trailer was. Okay, again, I said no longer exists. So there's a face-to-face encounter right there, and originally they thought that Dana Satterfield's estranged husband had committed the murder, because he was a suspect because they had separated from Dana Satterfield separated from her husband. But the one thing that Dana Satterfield's husband had going for him, believe it or not, was he was at the time, he might have lost weight. I don't know, this was 25 years ago. But at the time, in July 1995, he was a very large man. Okay, you know, overweight, fat, whatever you call it. And the suspect, the person that the black lady had seen the suspect, and the suspect was very thin and shape. So immediately, Dana Satterfield's estranged husband was no longer a suspect. Threw him out. Okay. But then this case was unsolved. Okay. One thing about the black lady I'll say is this case aired in the later seasons, but yet the shirt that she was wearing was like very like outdated, severely outdated. It looked more 80s than 90s, I'll say. It was it had all these various colors, and they were stripes that were going north and south. Very outdated looking shirt. But this case was one of the very last segments to ever air on the NBC edition of Unsolved Mysteries. As a matter of fact, this Dana Satterfield segment was on the very last original full-length episode, 1-hour episode of Unsolved Mysteries on NBC. It aired on May 16, 1997. The following week, the Unsolved Mysteries was a repeat. They had one last original special alert segment, but a special alert segment is about, 2 or 3 minutes, and a segment is usually about 10 minutes on Unsolved Mysteries. So, what I was going to say, oh, hello, y'all going to stop? Absolutely horrible drivers in South Carolina, by the way. North Carolina's pretty bad, but South Carolina, whoa. It's like Florida's deadly little sister or something. But anyway, this case, and it was kind of weird because there's a newspaper article up on the Unsolved Mysteries wiki that said this case it aired. The article was written like a week before the case was going to air in May of 1997, and apparently it had stated that Unsolved Mysteries had been renewed for a 10th season on NBC. It was coming back, but apparently the following week the upfront, the presentation of the 1997-1998 TV schedule came out, and Unsolved Mysteries is not on the schedule for NBC. So it was kind of a last-minute decision for NBC to cancel Unsolved Mysteries. Basically, what I researched, the reason why, was the ratings for Unsolved Mysteries were, the first 5 seasons were really good, ratings-wise, and then it became instead of being a top 20 show, it was now a top 40 show, okay? So, yeah, that's what I said. A top 40 show, okay? NBC moved the show to Fridays. Well, now it was like doing like 75, 80 in the ratings for like the 94, 95 TV seasons. The last year's on NBC, it was doing pretty good for Friday nights. It was it was actually winning its time slot Friday nights. Now, in the early part of the 90s, ABC's TGIF was the king of Friday nights. But in 1996, 1997, TGIF was really on the decline. Family Matters was really starting to like, instead of a top 30 show, it was now hitting 50, 60, you know. It was really going down. Boy Meets World, and yeah, Boy Meets World was, you know, the show that was really holding up, you know, keeping ABC above water for that hour. Or I should say, you know, 8:30, 9 o'clock was Boy Meets World. That was doing pretty good. It was like, you know, top 30, top 40. Okay. But the reason why NBC ultimately canceled Unsolved Mysteries was not ratings or the number of viewers, it was the age demographic of the viewer. They were not getting enough of the 18 to 49 demographic. They were getting too many older people watching the show. And that's really not what advertisers covet, because the 18 to 49 people, they're out spending money a lot more than, you know, the older people, you know, because I guess once you're retired, you're kind of set in your ways and, you know, not necessarily want to make big purchases or something like that. But, so anyway, let's see, what was it? So the show moved to CBS, and if you watch my YouTube video I talk for like almost, you know, like 75 minutes nonstop on Unsolved Mysteries. But one of the things to talk about is how the show moved to CBS, and CBS kind of treated it like garbage almost. They just didn't, you know, they were handed a piece of gold and they treated it like a piece of fool's gold or something. But this case, what had happened, Dana Satterfield wise, was about 10 years after Dana Satterfield was murdered, the killer had come forward. And in 1995, what had happened was, I don't know if Dana Satterfield was involved with this suspect, the murderer, because he was like 18 or 20 or something, and she was a few years older. But what had happened was, apparently the 20-year-old had, lustful thoughts about Mrs. Satterfield and, you know, wanted to have sexual relations and all that stuff. But apparently, you know, how the murder had planned out is the 20-year-old wanted to have sex with Mrs. Satterfield. Mrs. Satterfield, you know, as often happens in a lot of these murders where it's man and woman, you know, the woman refuses sex and the murderer gets violent and eventually, you know, kills Mrs. Satterfield. So 10 years go by, and apparently the suspect has met Mrs. Satterfield's daughter. And I'm thinking that the daughter is probably, Mrs. Satterfield had 2 kids, right? Okay, two children. And I don't know what the ages were, but let's assume the daughter was probably about 10 at the time that Satterfield was murdered. Now, 2005, the daughter is now adult age, 18, 19 years old. The murderer is like 10 years older than Satterfield's daughter. The murderer takes a liking to Satterfield's daughter, and he feels remorseful, and I'm thinking what happens is, apparently the daughter tells a friend of hers And Satterfield, and the murderer finds out, says, "Hey, you better not do this. I'm going to threaten you." But Satterfield's daughter's friend goes to the authorities and said, "Look, you need to check this guy out." And the murderer confesses to the murder. Was sentenced to life in prison. And then in 2010, he got in a fight with an inmate, added 35 years. He won't be eligible for parole for another 15 years, 2035. So you do the math, and he will probably be about early 60s when he ultimately, if he gets paroled. Murders are pretty serious thing, so we'll see, right? Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I rambled on. I should have stayed at the location a little while longer, but it is what it is, I guess. Alrighty. I will talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.